We're smack in the middle of the festive season. It's always an auspicious time to, of course, buy a new car or a bike, and which is why there's lots of action always in the automobile space. So call it coincidence or good timing for a very special visit from the person who heads BMW's operations for the Asia Pacific region. We're talking, of course, about Ms. Hildegard Wortmann, who's joining us right now and is on a trip here to India. Thank you. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much for having me here and having this perfect spot here. Thanks.
No, and it's very exciting also because I know that you're here to also coincide with the opening of the new BMW headquarters in India.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It felt me really good last night when we were all here, the whole team together. It's a big jump, it's a big step, and glad to see all the happy faces of the people, and we had a really good time last night. So
I mean, of course, our viewers are just seeing one very small part of where we are sitting, but yes, the office is very nice. I've had the chance to go around and look, so congratulations.
Yeah, what I especially like is all the working structure. So we really go into this agile working and hot desking and so on. So I think that's really beneficial to be more speedy in the processes, to be fast in the thinking, have more agile working here. So I'm glad to see this happening.
It's also a great parallel in many ways to where BMW's operations in India are. I mean, it's been some time now, of course, that BMW has been here, but the last year has really sort of represented in many ways, you could call it from a sales point of view, a really strong comeback. From the brand strength point of view, a lot of very key decisions having been taken, and of course even MotorHeads starting operations in a really sort of serious way with the launch of the 310s. Good parallel is one thing, but it has been a really important year, isn't it, for India?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yes, we are on the ground here since 11 years, so that's a clear commitment, and I think we've shown over the 11 years that we really have to find the right strategy, the right way of approaching the market, and really making sure that we grasp what customers really desire here, what is really up in specifically for this market. Like you rightly say, I think last year was already a good jump, and I'm really highly satisfied seeing the development here. But 18 is a strong year now, again with major launches. You've seen the 6 GT coming, and again a new segment that we created. And then obviously the future is very bright. If I look forward to the next year, we will see 12 launches. So it will definitely keep the team here spending a lot of long evenings in these new offices.
Now, is that the same for the region in terms of that number, 12 launches, or is that specific to India?
No, that's fairly much across the whole region, yeah, most likely of the markets. But it's, as you know, on the worldwide scale, this is the biggest product offensive that we've ever done at BMW. So we are really going fully blast here into the product segments. And from my former role, I can really full-heartedly say the future is really bright. It's fantastic cars coming, strong design aspects, strong performance, and you can feel the joy of BMW in every instance there.
I'm going to quickly take off the financial journalist hat and wear my motoring hat and get excited about what you just said. Because
excellent.
Of course, new products coming is always is always great news. And this is BMW brand, or does this include Mini as well?
That includes well, it's 12 on BMW brand, then there's another 2 on Mini and another 2 on motorcycles. So yes, of course, they also
throw in the worldwide rollout of the Cullinan, and you've really got lots happening, I know.
Definitely.
In India, though, then when you look at this, the one thing, of course, it does is just gives tremendous strength to the portfolio, no doubt, gets your dealers excited, no doubt, too, and excites the market. But from a pure product perspective, of those 12, is there one particular car that you think is going to really sort of shake things up, both from what it does for its segment and also what it does to volume for you?
I mean, clearly, if you look at it, the core of the BMW business around the 3 Series is a very, very important part of our business. And having the new 3 Series coming is obviously a milestone again. And I think I'm not exaggerating if I say the 3 Series is an icon in the automotive history, not just in India, but everywhere in the world. So having that model uprun coming next year is very exciting. Personally, I think the big news will be the X7, where again we created something very special, a very new standalone car. And I think that one will have a really big impact, especially here in India.
It's playing on a loop behind you, by the way, so they're getting a glimpse of it as well.
Sometimes coincidence.
It's a good one. And that model becomes, it plays it's going to play such a big flagship role as well for you across the world. But in this region in particular, do you think that it just takes on a little bit of an extra meaning? Yeah,
I think it's 2 points. One you referred to earlier, I think the importance for the brand is really strong. It is what I would call a flagship for the brand. It is a strong statement in terms of luxury, in terms of presence, in terms of the aspirations. But equally, if you go into the interior of the car, you will see all the refinement, you will see all the manufacturing precision in there. that again I think stands for the brand and for the business of BMW. And I think as much, and I'm certainly not, I wouldn't claim I'm the insider for the Indian market, but I think I have by now a really good understanding here. I can see that Indian customers are ever so demanding and are really looking to this attention of detailing, and I'm sure they will have a lot of appreciation for this manufacture type of approach that we have in there and all the little details in there. But on the same side, if you look at the digital things, I see Indian market being so advanced in all the digitalization. And of course, customers would demand that same sort of digital connectivity in the car. And again, I think all the cars you're going to see launching now will show top benchmark here in terms of digitalization. And that's really key for us.
Yeah, again, I can totally understand why. And you're right, the customer here is extremely demanding. And it's good, I think, when we see that response from the OEMs, to that kind of demand. The X range, is going to be at its widest ever as well by next year. And in India too, we now find that there is an intent from BMW's side to offer the entire portfolio. How significant is that? Can we say 2019 is sort of the X year or the year of the X range for India?
I think you can say that. That's a good comment. I like that. As I said, the 3 Series is there as well, so there's a few other cars as well, so which is also important to us. But I can see your point on X, and when on a worldwide scale, you can say the X family has become about 1/3 of our volume, so it's substantial. And if you look in the infrastructure here in the Indian market, if you look at the customer demands here, I think it's a perfect fit. So yes, the X range is especially important here, and we see successful numbers as well.
And we haven't had the X2 or the X4 in the past, so that's the other reason why, next year suddenly, they're all going to be here now. Going back to that point about the position then in India and how you view the market, one side of that is obviously what's happening in terms of the market itself. I'll come to that, but there is of course that typical cliched point about the competition. We've seen a massive offensive, of course, the last few years from Mercedes-Benz globally. In India too, that's sort of coincidentally happened where they've had a really strong 3 years. Never mind their strategy and product and policy, but from your perspective, how important is it to sort of not regain a position in the market so much as a place in people's minds? Do you think, given that sort of challenge, let's say, from Mercedes, even in India, is it going to be important next year to sort of consolidate your position?
Well, less looking at Mercedes, but I think for us as a brand and as a business, it's important to really convey what the brand stands for, but equally what we stand for in terms of business partners. We are here together strong with our dealer partners and our other partners we have in the industry. And for me, that's the foundation for a really sustainable success. And you've seen our growth rates. We're nearly close to 2-digit growth rates here in this year again. It proves to be the right strategy. And I think for me, clearly, India is not about a one-time, quick in, quick out type of thing. It is not about an overnight love affair. It is about really going the whole mile and having the whole commitment to the market in a sustainable environment. And that's really what our India strategy is all about. That's why we're bringing all these products. And we're producing in China already 9 of the products locally, and we're producing another 2 next year to come. So I think that shows the clear commitment, combined with a very strong brand and with a very strong luxury appeal and the high desirability of the brand. I think that is something that is appreciated by the Indian customers, and that makes our success story here for BMW.
How important is it then for you to also carry on consolidating that local production by improving or increasing rather the local content? Is that something?
Yeah, I think it's a very viable position. It needs to be a win-win for both sides, but I had the pleasure just about a couple of weeks ago to travel together with our member of the board for production, Oliver Zipse, to our plant in Chennai. And I think we've both been really delighted to see how perfectly this operation was run, how really up to the top worldwide levels everybody is working there. The team is highly motivated, and you can see how they will drive the business and how they contribute to it, and that's just amazing to see.
You have done a lot in terms of not just the investments in the plant, but also sort of, like I said, going back to almost reworking the entire operation when the change in the government policy also happened with view to CKD and local production. All of that, I know that there was also, let's say, a pullback in terms of the actual sales numbers too, as a result of waiting for some of these changes to fall into place. You're one of the few manufacturers who actually did that, though. Sort of went the the hard route, got everything in place. How well does it set you up now then for future growth? Do you think it could be, I don't want to call it a jump, but do you expect there to be a sort of a sharp growth then for BMW in the next 1 or 2 years?
Like as I said, I think we are already on a good track with a roughly 9% growth that we currently see. So I'm really delighted to see that. And with the product offensive coming, of course, the expectations are there that we can further build on this. But for me, the key message really is this is not about a sprint, this is about a marathon. And I'm very happy to run this marathon, and that takes, as you say, very prudent decisions at the right times. It needs to be a profitable business for all of us, so not just for BMW, but for our dealer partners, for everyone being involved. And we take careful attention to that as well. And I think with that we have taken the right decisions strategically to further grow, and we certainly have a long-term perspective here for the market.